A good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a very productive and great Tuesday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition tonight. Experts in mineral extraction and foreign investors in the sector affirm that Rwanda has abundant mineral reserves that can be mined for many years. This should dispel doubts regarding the origin of the Rwandan minerals exports to international markets. On Tuesday, Rwanda received Ahmed Napoleon Bonyunyiza, deported from the U.S. after serving 15 years for sexual assault-related offenses. On the international scale, UNICEF has announced that 221 children in Sudan, including boys, have been raped by armed men since the beginning of 2024 to date. We are glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I bring you tonight's edition is Martina Abera. Before we begin our edition, let us start off by informing you that a communique that was released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation stating that Rwanda regrets Germany's politicization of development cooperation. This was released on the 4th of March 2025 in Kigali. The statement goes, the politicization of development cooperation by Germany's caretaker government is wrong and counterproductive. Germany contradicts its own claims of supporting the African-led process to resolve the conflict in Eastern DRC by letting the DRC off the hook for numerous violations, which only reinforces its belligerent posture and needlessly prolongs the conflict. For a country which prides itself on taking seriously the warning signs of the ethnic extremism, Germany shows an utter lack of courage by ignoring the threat posed by DRC-backed FDLR, genocidal militias, to Rwanda as well as to Congolese Tutsi communities in Eastern DRC. Countries like Germany that bear a historical responsibility for the recurring instability in this region should know better than to apply one-sided coercive measures. Rwanda will continue to protect its national security while remaining fully engaged in the ongoing regional peace process. Now, experts in mineral extraction and foreign investors in the sector affirm that Rwanda has abundant mineral reserves that can be mined for many years. This should dispel doubts regarding the origin of the minerals Rwanda exports to international markets. We have more of this report.
In one of the steep hill ranges of Ngororero sector, Ngororero district in the western province, a company called Power M identified a promising site and established a processing plant for coltan and cassiterite minerals extracted from the Rukaragata mines.
This mine was historical data shows that the first mining started in 1930s. And at that point, of course, tantalum was not an issue because was not a commodity that people were interested in. Right. So luckily, in this type of mineralization, we call it pegmatite, is the rock. So this rock normally contains 3 T's, which is tin, tantalum, and tungsten. So at that point in 1930s, nobody was involved in tantalum because the tantalum was not yet something that was put into high tech, obviously. But it has been mined a lot, and we have then saw that there was a lot of tunnels which we mapped. There was old tunnels. You can see even one tunnel there. You can see it.
Right.
So these are old tunnels that were mined before artisanally.
Handmade.
Handmade, yes, very small. So what we've done, we've mapped it all, we've checked it all, and then we've done, of course, the geochemical analysis. We've done the geophysical analysis, and we've then run the pilot plant for 9 months. And we've put in different types of minerals from this mine, and to see what output is. So that's how we then decided actually this is a very good mine for us. There is indication that mineralization extends well outside of this, but we have not proven it yet. So the way the international industry of mining works is it doesn't just mean that it is enough because you think you have the minerals. You actually have to prove them. So when the way you prove them, you have to drill holes. Then even that just tells you that you have the minerals, but then you have to do economic feasibility to see whether these minerals are actually economical to extract. Because you might have the minerals, maybe it's not enough, it will cost you more to extract.
The extraction of coltan and cassiterite at the mines is carried out with expertise and modern equipment to ensure workers' safety. Such operations are vastly different from other coltan mining activities and processing methods found elsewhere in Africa. Over 200 employees working at the site say the mining operation has significantly contributed to the development of local families. The CEO of Power M emphasizes that Rwanda possesses sufficient high-quality minerals, making it unnecessary for any country to question the volume of minerals it exports to international markets.
Well, sure, look, we've stood on it. I mean, it is fundamental. There are a lot of non-geologists who have opinions, but it is here. We've invested a huge amount of money to build a full industrial scale mine with exploration data, with drilling data. We've proven the resources. But in reality, you can look through the historical archives. Rwanda was a substantial contributor to the tin mining back in the 1940s. And that technology does not have passports. Rocks don't get to a political border and say, okay, we stop here. Yeah? This whole belt is the whole region. It even crosses into Burundi and up in Uganda. It's the whole region. So you cannot say just because there's a political border invented in the last 125 years, all of a sudden rocks that have been here for multi-millions of years have changed location. It's not viable. And so you can see here we have a very solid investment. You don't see thousands of people, but that's because that's a very unsafe way to mine. The more miners you have crawling in tunnels, the more people that die. And we all know artisanal mining has got a reasonably poor reputation for all the human rights abuses that have taken place over the last 40 years.
This statement is also supported by mineral exploration experts.
From a geological point of view, it's a ridiculous accusation because we have the same belt, it's called Kibara-Dangole belt, coming from Lubumbashi, going through Kivus and going to Uganda. So it's the same geological formation that formed pegmatites. And pegmatites are the things that are actually rich with tantritis. So it's exactly the same thing here. The artificial border was made by men. This was not made by men. So geology doesn't have borders.
The Rukaragata coltan and cassiterite processing plant is the first in Africa to directly supply finished products without requiring further refinement in other factories. The mines produce 1 ton per day and use the vast minerals deposits in the hills of Ngorero. Extraction is expected to continue for the next 60 years.
Analysts emphasize that the private sector should not be intimidated by the sanctions imposed on Rwanda by the international community and Western countries, especially since the current global business landscape is no longer solely dependent on Western markets. Adam Squizera with more.
Since the conflict between the Congolese M23 rebel group and the Democratic Republic of Congo Army (FARDC) intensified, senior DRC officials have been actively calling on the countries and the international community to impose sanctions on Rwanda. Dr. Alphonse Moulev, an expert in international law, explains that countries such as Belgium, the UK, and Canada have fallen into this trap due to their vested interests in the security crisis in the eastern DRC.
Umutekano muke ushobora kuba ari inyungu ku bantu benshi.
A security crisis can serve the interests of many actors, including armed dealers, those illegally exploiting the DRC's resources, and even segments of the international community that benefit from keeping people in refugee camps. Ultimately, there are numerous vested interests that could contribute to prolonging this crisis. Rwanda, on the other hand, views this as taking sides in the conflict, which does nothing to support the peace process envisioned by the African Union, the East African Community (AEC), and the SADC. On the other hand, Rwanda emphasizes that the coalition between the FARDC and the FDLR poses a direct threat to its security. Mukabalisa Germain reinforces this sense, stating that Rwanda will not compromise its security under any circumstances.
Sanctioning or suspending aid cannot eliminate our security threats. If the threat were solely tied to funding from that aid, one might argue that cutting it could be a solution. But if the response is sanctions, will that make Rwanda abandon its defensive measures? Should Rwanda accept being shelled just to avoid sanctions?
ndetse baranarasa ku Rwanda u Rwanda se rwatega amaboko ngo rurimbuke kugira ngo rudafatirwa ibihano.
Michael Shakanyarwaya emphasizes that the global trade landscape is vast, allowing business operations to continue in other markets, even halted in certain countries.
If you want to stay with me and do business together, we'll do business together. But if you don't want to do business together with me, I'll look for other partner to do business with them. So the world is big, and this world we are into competition. So if today you don't want to do business with me, I'll look for other opportunities. So I was telling you, we have the plan A, we have plan B, we have plan D, up to Z.
He also highlights that Rwanda's history demonstrates resilience and resilience, especially those in the private sector should not see this as a hindrance to progress. In an interview with RTS Info, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, emphasized that Rwanda is not intimidated by sanctions, as the security of its citizens remains the country's top priority.
Nous n'avons pas peur d'être isolés diplomatiquement, nous n'avons pas peur de sanctions. Ce dont on aurait peur, c'est de laisser...
We don't fear diplomatic isolation, nor do we fear sanctions. What we fear is abandoning our country and our people to defenselessness. Rwanda will never allow history to repeat itself because of the genocidal forces that the DRC continues to sustain.
À cause de ces groupes génocidaires qui sont maintenant entretenus par le gouvernement congolais.
The government of Rwanda stated that Canada cannot claim to support regional peace efforts while blaming Rwanda for violations, without holding the DRC government accountable. This, Rwanda argues, only emboldens DRC to escalate attacks against its own civilians. In response, Rwanda reaffirmed that imposing measures against it will not resolve the conflict.
On Tuesday, Rwanda received Ahmed Napoleon Bonyunyiza, deported from the U.S. after serving 15 years for sexual assault-related offenses. Prince Manzi with more.
Ahmed Napoleon Bonyunyiza arrived at the Kigali International Airport on Tuesday evening. Bonyunyiza was deported after serving a 15-year prison sentence in the U.S. for sexual assault-related offenses. He was in 2007 tried and convicted in absentia by the Nyakabanda Gacaca court for his role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, as elaborated by Faustin Husi, the spokesperson of the National Public Prosecution Authority.
We are here purposely to receive a deportee, a fugitive who committed genocide in Rwanda, by name of Bonyunyiza, Ahmed Napoleon. So the judicial authorities of the United States of America have just deported him because he committed the crimes in the USA related to domestic violence. So after completing or finishing his sentence in the USA, they decided to deport him. And then we were informed before even coming or putting in place the deportation order. So when we verified in our documents, we realized that Ahmed was convicted by the Gacaca Court of Nyakabanda and sentenced to life imprisonment. So that's why we are here. We are here, first of all, to receive him, but also inform him about this judgment of Gacaca, which he has to be notified. We have to make a formal notification about this judgment. Afterwards, he also has the right to make an opposition that has to be made in 30 days. So that's why we are here. He will be notified, be given this judgment, and then within 30 days, he has to make an opposition, and then other legal processes will proceed from within 30 days.
The spokesperson for the National Public Prosecution Authority, Faustin Husi, affirms that the NPPA commenced the USA judicial for supporting genocide fugitives, their ongoing assistance in matters of mutual legal support, and their contribution to the global fight against impunity, adding that there are also other genocide fugitives requested to the U.S. to be deported.
We have received 7 fugitives from the judicial authorities of USA. So this is the 7th fugitive deported from USA. So we are always happy and appreciate any fugitive that is deported, whether he is 1 or 2, but it is an achievement for justice and the cooperation in justice. So they still have other 17 fugitives who are still at large, but we shall continue working with them to make sure that they all come back to either serve their sentence or be tried in our domestic courts. So I think, and we still also conduct other investigation to other people who are still in USA. So we shall always continue, working with them and informing them about the presence of some fugitives who are in the soil, to make sure that we work together and make sure they come back. Or if they decided to try them in their country, that will also be another achievement.
Ahmed Napoleon Bonyunyiza was born in 1968. In 2007, the Nyakabanda Gacaca court convicted him for his role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince Manzi, for that report. Now, experts in cancer medicine confirm that breast cancer is the leading cause of death among women. However, it is one of the easiest and least expensive cancers to diagnose and treat, with 80% chance of recovery if treated early. And our Gladys has more.
77% of African women with breast cancer are diagnosed too late. 17% of diagnosed women do not receive the treatment they need within the first year, with access gaps varying by region. Only 50% of women diagnosed with breast cancer in Africa will survive 5 years, compared with 90% in high-income countries. 8 years ago, Lizzie Sitole from Zimbabwe was diagnosed with breast cancer. Although she initially lost hope, believing that her life was over, her family and friends played a significant role in restoring her confidence to keep fighting. This is the testimony she shares with Karen Nakawala Chilowa from Zambia, who also survived breast cancer.
For me, basically, it was scary. I thought I was going to die. I thought of a lot of things, being a mother of 2, and thinking that you won't be able to see your children grow. But now it's 8 years and I'm still strong and moving on, and giving hope to also families that have had ladies or men that have been diagnosed with breast cancer. Yes, so there is hope.
Don't wait to be told to go and get screened, and don't wait till you have symptoms to go and get screened. I always say the best time to get screened is when you don't have any symptoms at all, because it's very unlikely that they'll find anything wrong with you. So make it a part of your lifestyle. And then to the policy makers, I think we need to sort of start prioritizing women's health especially. I always say that the day that we're going to start putting a lot of importance and value on our women is the day that we're going to start winning the fight against things such as cervical cancer, which is preventable, and breast cancer, which is treatable and curable if it is caught early.
In a discussion that brought together global experts in oncology and the fight against breast cancer, it was emphasized that if no action is taken in Africa, the number of people diagnosed with breast cancer could multiply significantly in the next 20 years. Soraya Melali, the chair of Africa Breast Cancer, stated that cooperation in awareness campaigns and medical support will be crucial in saving many lives that were once claimed by this disease.
We believe that collaboration, innovation and knowledge sharing are keys to real change. Collaboration is no longer optional. It is the only way forward. Your leadership in Rwanda's healthcare system, particularly in addressing cervical cancer, has shown us that your unwavering dedication to women's health, especially in cancer prevention and treatment, is proof that progress happens when we refuse to accept the status quo. The presidential initiative for women's health have helped shape breast cancer care and shown that real progress comes from commitment and action.
The World Health Organization established a global breast cancer initiative in 2021 with targets on early detection, timely diagnosis and improved treatment outcomes from countries to achieve by 2040. Dr. Saban Sanzimana, the Minister of Health, stated that breast cancer is one of the easiest to diagnose and treat, with an 80% chance of recovery.
Breast cancer is probably one of the cheapest cancer to detect, and probably to manage and to treat when you do it on the right time. Because you can do it yourself. Detection, self-palpation, more than any other cancer. Self-palpation for prostate is not possible. Self-palpation for cervical cancer is not. You can name, but breast cancer, you know how to do it. And also your partner can help you to do it, your close partner, of course. So that is one part. Second, if you detect it at phase 1 and 2, the outcome will be more than 8% success. Being surgery or being radiotherapy, being other advanced, even now, non-chemical treatment or management.
Breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related death among women globally. In 2022, there were 2.3 million new cases and over 666,000 deaths worldwide. In Africa, breast cancer accounts for 12% of all cancer-related deaths, and 77% of the 198,553 women diagnosed with it receive treatment too late, while 17% do not receive the necessary treatment. Breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related death among women globally. In 2022, there were 2.3 million new cases and over 666,000 deaths worldwide, with sub-Saharan African countries, including Rwanda, 146,130 cases of women were diagnosed for the first time and 71,662 deaths. Enra Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Ngiye icyo mbaza ni kimwe koko hari umuntu ugihagarara ku nyama muri iki gihe koko uretse nitaba umukiriya kiriya biteze
ariko tayi aho kusoreza imyenda wibereye kuri telefone kweli
ariko ni kuwa mbere nawe wagwamo uracyari wose icyo nakubwiraga wa muntu niko ye umuntu w'umugabo ku bukwe bwe akambara kositimu itukura iciye n'amaboko noneho none se uyisuza
si wombwiye ngo ngwe muse
ntabwo ari ibintu avugaga
kuwa mbere kanda akanyenyeri 345 akanyenyeri 2 urwego maze nawe ugwemo. Wikwisondeka.
hagamijwe guteza imbere ireme ry'uburezi ndetse no gutegura ejo heza h'abana b'u Rwanda, leta y'u Rwanda yashyizeho gahunda yo kugaburira abanyeshuri ku mashuri. Mu rwego rero rwo gushimangira iyi gahunda ifitiye akamaro abanyeshuri, tariki ya mbere Werurwe umwaka wa 2025 ku nshuro ya 10, u Rwanda rwifatanyije n'ibindi bihugu mu kwizihiza umunsi nyafurika wahariwe ifunguro ku ishuri. Mu gihugu cyacu uyu munsi uzizihizwa tariki ya 7 Werurwe ku mashuri yose, naho ku rwego rw'igihugu wizihirizwe mu rwunge rw'amashuri rwa Kigali. Insanganyamatsiko iragira iti imyaka 10 y'ifunguro, twizihiza ibyagezweho duteganyiriza ejo hazaza. Twese turashishikarizwa gushyigikira iyi gahunda yo kugaburira abanyeshuri ku mashuri binyuze mu bukangurambaga bwiswe dusangire lunch campaign. By'umwihariko ababyeyi twitabire kwishyura umusanzu wacu, bityo abana bacu bafatira ifunguro riboneye ku ishuri. Ubu butumwa ni ubwa Minisiteri y'Uburezi ku bufatanye n'ishami ry'umuryango w'abibumbye rishinzwe ibiribwa ku isi.
Thank you for sticking with us on RTV News, and welcome back to other stories making headlines on the international scene. Heading over to UNICEF, which has announced that 221 children in Sudan, including boys, have been raped by armed men since the beginning of 2024 to date. This and other reports from the African continent, courtesy of VOA, in the following roundup.
recent report estimated that about 3.4 million people are currently facing acute food insecurity in Somalia.
Data that we have from service providers in Sudan shows us that this is widespread. It has occurred in 9 states, just these 221 rape cases alone, 9 states across the country.
The White House has announced that U.S. President Donald Trump has paused military aid to Ukraine. This and other reports from the American continent, also courtesy of VOA.
Сьогодні ж на ставці були деякі спеціальні питання нашої державної стійкості. Всі можливі сценарії ми пропрацюємо.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. We must be able to build the chips and semiconductors that we need right here in American factories with American skill and American labor.
And that VOA roundup marks the end of our bulletin. Before we close off, let's have a quick recap of our headlines. Experts in mineral extraction and foreign investors in the sector affirm that Rwanda has abundant mineral reserves that can be mined for many years to come. On Tuesday, Rwanda received Ahmed Napoleon Bonyunyiza, deported from the U.S. after serving 15 years for sexual assault-related offenses. On the international scale, UNICEF has announced that 221 children in Sudan, including boys, have been raped by armed men since the beginning of 2024 to date. And on behalf of the news production team, as well as the technical team behind all this, we would like to thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. And until next time, stay safe and have a good night.